We've got some massive news in the light heavyweight division. Two former champions are about to throw down, and the way this fight came together is absolutely insane. Jan Blachowicz and Jamahal Hill have officially agreed to fight, and trust me, the backstory here is drama-filled. So here's how this whole situation kicked off. Jan Blachowicz stepped up to defend Yana Janjic after she got into a heated confrontation with Jamahal Hill. During this confrontation, Hill allegedly threatened to knock her out, which obviously didn't sit well with a lot of people. Blachowicz, being the stand-up guy he is, suggested they could settle things on the street if Hill wanted to act tough. But here's where Hill actually earned some respect. Instead of taking the bait and talking about street fights, he insisted they keep everything professional and handle it inside the octagon where it belongs. Hill made it crystal clear in his response, and honestly, what he said was pretty mature for someone who's known for talking trash. He basically said, look, we can handle this inside the cage. I fight for a living. That's what I do. But when it comes to handling threats outside the octagon, things get way more serious than you think. Keep it professional. Keep it in the cage. We don't need to carry this anywhere else because when you take things outside the sport, more than just pride gets lost. There's no referee to stop things out there. Hill continued, saying they should focus on getting money and being prosperous for their families instead of letting things escalate beyond the sport. He said if it goes outside the cage, nobody wins. And honestly, he's absolutely right about that. After this whole exchange, the tension moved to social media, which is where most UFC beef lives these days anyway. Blachowicz called out Hill on Twitter saying, as soon as you are healthy, I'm ready, let's do it. And Jamahal Hill wasted zero time accepting the challenge. He simply wrote back, say no more, see you in the octagon. And just like that, we've got ourselves a banger of a light heavyweight fight between two former champions. This is going to be an absolute war when it happens. Both guys have knockout power, both have held championship gold, and both clearly have something to prove. The light heavyweight division needed a fight like this, and we're getting it. Now let's talk about what might be the most important moment in the flyweight division right now. Manel Kape just made an absolutely massive statement, and the champion should be paying very close attention. Kape said before his fight that he was going to make it look easy against Brandon Royval, and man, did he ever deliver on that promise. This wasn't just any fight either. This was the main event of UFC Vegas 112, the final fight of the year, and Royval is a former title challenger. The stakes couldn't have been higher. While it wasn't officially called a #1 contender fight, everyone knew that a dominant performance would basically lock in the next title shot. And Kape didn't just win, he absolutely demolished Royval. We're talking about a brutal first-round knockout at just 3 minutes and 18 seconds. Royval was left flat on the canvas, and Kape made it look effortless. But here's where things get really interesting. At the post-fight press conference, Kape immediately turned his attention to the champion, Joshua Van. And he didn't just call him out, he made some seriously bold statements about what's coming next. Kape said the champ hasn't said anything yet because he's already scared. He said Van knows he's about to go down and that Kape is coming hot in 2026. Not just hot, but very hot. Kape talked about how he's coming with investments, sponsors, and a whole new level of preparation. Then Kape got really intense with his prediction. He said he's going to be more ready, sharper, and more focused than ever before. He promised there would be no distractions in his life. He said he'll eat, sleep, and think about Van every single day. Every single day until he takes that gold, he's going to be thinking about the champion. And he said Van is going to be sleeping and dreaming about him because he's going to be his worst nightmare. That's the kind of energy and confidence you want to see from a title challenger. Kape genuinely believes he's going to take that belt. And after what we just saw him do to Royval, can you really blame him? But wait, there's more. Kape also made an absolutely wild claim about his star power. He said he's the second biggest star in Portugal behind only Cristiano Ronaldo. Yes, you heard that right. Cristiano Ronaldo, one of the most famous athletes on planet Earth, and then Manel Kape, according to Kape himself. He explained that while he was born in Angola, he grew up in Portugal and played soccer for a long time, which is why he celebrates the way he does. He said he never forgot his roots or where he came from. In Portugal, Ronaldo is the biggest thing, and according to Kape, he's the second biggest. And in Angola sports, he claims he's the biggest thing right now. Whether you believe those claims or not, you've got to respect the confidence. This is a guy who believes in himself completely, and he just backed it up with a devastating knockout. The flyweight division just got a whole lot more interesting. Moving on to the welterweight division, things are getting heated and personal between Shavkat Rakhmonov and Joaquin Buckley, and this situation is escalating fast. Buckley recently called out Rakhmonov on social media, but Rakhmonov's response? That's where this took a turn. He responded with a message that, when translated through Google, roughly said, "Black boy, you will be beaten." Now, Buckley did not appreciate that response at all. In fact, he was extremely fired up about it, and he let Rakhmonov know exactly how he felt in a passionate and intense reply. Buckley promised to show him where they come from, how long they've been struggling, how long they've been deprived, but also how they still get up every single time they get knocked down and run over everything in their path. Buckley promised he's going to mess Rakhmonov up, along with anybody else who wants it. He told Rakhmonov that if he doesn't sign the contract, somebody else is going to get it instead. But he promised he's burying everybody in the UFC regardless. That's the kind of fire and passion that makes fights compelling. Buckley is clearly offended by what was said, and he's channeling that into motivation. Rakhmonov, for his part, quickly shut down the idea of fighting Buckley right now. He tweeted back, saying Buckley is delusional, and he'd rather fight the guy who just beat Buckley than waste time on him. He called Buckley kid and said he can be his third option with his big mouth. So for now, this fight isn't happening, but the bad blood is definitely there. And in the UFC, these things have a way of coming back around eventually. Over in the featherweight division, Paddy Pimblett is making some interesting predictions about how his path to the title might unfold, and it involves current champion Ilia Topuria potentially not being there. In a recent interview, Pimblett expressed support for Topuria as he deals with some personal matters in his life, specifically mentioning divorce drama. Pimblett wished him well during the process and made it clear that Topuria's personal life has nothing to do with their potential fight. He hopes everything goes well for Topuria with his family situation. However, Pimblett also added something significant. He said if Topuria doesn't come back by June or July, the champion might be forced to vacate his belt. And if that happens, Pimblett believes he could become the undisputed champion without ever fighting Topuria. That's a wild scenario to think about, but it's not outside the realm of possibility. Champions have vacated titles before due to personal issues or extended absences. If Topuria needs to step away to handle his personal life, the UFC isn't going to keep the division frozen forever. But Pimblett didn't stop there. He also took some shots at Arman Tsarukyan, saying Arman dug his own grave and is an absolute idiot. Pimblett said Topuria is the man, and that's who he's going to fight. He called Arman someone who talks a big game, but then messes things up. Pimblett listed all the reasons why he thinks Arman doesn't deserve his position. He mentioned that Arman pulled out of a title fight the night before, punched a fan during his walkout, and headbutted someone at a weigh-in. He said Arman beat Dan Hooker, but noted that Dan can't grapple to save his life. He mentioned Arman beat Dustin Poirier, who looks about 65 years old now, and beat Charles Oliveira in a fight that Pimblett and many others thought Oliveira actually won. Pimblett's conclusion? Arman hasn't done himself enough to deserve a title shot, and he thinks that just because Arman's dad is a millionaire, he can't just pay his way into things. Pimblett said it doesn't work like that with the UFC, and Arman needs to sit down, shut up, and do what he's told. Those are some serious shots fired. The featherweight division is absolutely stacked with drama right now. Let me quickly run through some other notable moments happening in the MMA world right now. We've got an unexpected UFC crossover that just happened. Welterweight contender Carlos Prates recently visited Prague, the capital of the Czech Republic, where he linked up with former light heavyweight champion Jiří Procházka for a training session. It's always cool to see fighters from different weight classes and different camps come together to train and share knowledge. After the training session, Prates shifted gears and did what he apparently enjoys most after fighting: partying. He made the most of Prague's nightlife, and honestly, good for him. In injury news, Alexandre Pantoja is already back in the gym and continuing to train despite the arm injury that cost him his flyweight title. That's the mark of a true fighter right there. Even after losing the belt due to injury, he's not sitting around feeling sorry for himself. He's back to work, getting ready for his return. Now we need to talk about one of the most unexpected moments in recent MMA history. Khamzat Chimaev has accepted Henry Cejudo's apology, bringing an end to their long-running feud. And let me tell you, this beef had some serious history behind it. After announcing his retirement from MMA, Cejudo visited Dubai, where he spoke with Red Corner MMA. During this interview, he publicly expressed regret over his past actions and offered a sincere apology to Chimaev for their earlier conflict. Cejudo said he would like to apologize to Khamzat, and he doesn't want to fight with him anymore. He acknowledged that the whole situation happened because he's in the content business and is always trying to get reactions from people. But he admitted that what happened with the hat was just wrong timing. If you don't know about the hat incident, let me fill you in because this is crucial context. The tension between these two goes all the way back to 2022. Chimaev appeared on the Triple C and Schmo Show podcast and reportedly left his hat in the studio. In a later episode featuring Paulo Costa, the hat was handed to Costa, who stuffed it into his underwear and rubbed it on his crotch. This became a recurring piece of trash talk on social media and in interviews aimed at Chimaev. In Muslim culture, acts like that towards someone's personal belongings, especially something that touches your head, are extremely disrespectful. This wasn't just regular MMA trash talk. This crossed a cultural line. The situation escalated even further in 2024, when Chimaev and Cejudo crossed paths outside a wrestling venue during the Paris Olympic Games. Cejudo later recounted the encounter on his podcast, claiming Chimaev confronted him aggressively and hurled insults at him, calling him a rat and worse. So when Cejudo offered this apology in Dubai, it was significant. He said Chimaev is a legend who has paid respect to guys that Cejudo looks up to, referring to the Chechen leadership that Chimaev is close with. Cejudo said he doesn't want to fight with Chimaev anymore, and that this is a sincere apology. He mentioned that now that he's done fighting, he's apologizing to a lot of people, and he wants to make it right with Chimaev. He hoped they could shake hands and forgive each other, referencing himself as a Christian and Chimaev as a Muslim. During Saturday's IBA World Boxing Championship, Chimaev accepted Cejudo's apology. He said he forgives him and is ready to move on. That's honestly really big of Chimaev, considering how disrespectful that whole hat situation was. It shows maturity and growth from both guys. In a lighter moment at the same event, Chimaev was also seen playfully arguing with boxing champion Artur Beterbiev over who should give up their seat to an elderly spectator. It's nice to see these intense fighters showing their softer, more respectful sides outside of competition. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so you never miss any of the latest MMA news and updates. Drop a comment below and let me know which of these stories you found most interesting.